Okay, here we go. I'm recording. So now we're going to talk about algebras. I know. Baby steps. Well, we just jumped into the deep end. Oh, you're going to be fine with this. All right, so we're just going to do baby stuff here. So we've talked, really what we've kind of led up to is, we've exercised some basic math things. We've learned how to use the calculator. We're going to do more exercises with the calculator, so it's going to be fine. So, all right, so algebra. Well, what I want to tell you is whatever, and that's it, just whatever. Whatever you do to one side of the equation try and write it so we can read it. E-Q-U-A-T-I equation. You must what? Right, do to the other side. So all of the stuff that we need to learn in the algebra we're going to do is really just manipulating small equations. There's nothing going to be terribly bad. So don't freak out. I'm going to walk you through it. All right, but when we take a look at something like 5x equals 45, and we ended up with some stuff like this the other day, and we really did cover this. What do we have? We have to isolate the x, right? And so how do we isolate the x? Right? We have to get it to 1. So how do we get 1 out of this mess? Well, you divide by 5. And what do we have to do this side? Divide by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. So that's 1x. We don't write 1x. Right? You just write 1. But it's the same thing. You just write 1. Equals 45 divided by 5, which is what?
9.
Thank you. It is 9. All right, if I have x plus 18 equals 60. Now we could just kind of look at it and go, well, what plus 18 equals 60 or 60 minus 18 equals x? That's pretty easy, but the proper way to do this so that you could do larger stuff is what do we have to do to isolate the x?
Minus 18.
Got to get 18 away. So x plus 18 minus 18 equals 60 what? I got to subtract 18 from both sides. So plus 18 minus 18 equals? 18 minus... 18 minus 18 is what? 0. So I just leave it off. I'm left with x equals 60 minus 18. So x equals 42. All right. If I had n minus 22 equals 100. What do I have to do? Add 22 to both sides. And 22 plus 22 equals 100 plus 22. So n equals what? 122. All right, that is not hard at all, is it? All right. If I had, well, let's be consistent here. X over 5 equals 50. How would I solve for that one? Multiply what?
5.
All right, so it's 5, and that stands for times. x5 equals 50 times 5. So this is going to cancel each other out, leaving me with x equals 50 times 5, and x is going to equal 250. All right. So we're going to remember that. But then there's the test to find out if you're a genius or not.
Uh-oh.
Did you take that?
I'm not.
I took the genius test.
You did too.
And I took it. I took it the genius test on the book face. And I know that, and so it said only a genius can answer this question correctly.
Well, I'm out.
40. You know what's funny? Every time I see something like that on social media, I say the same thing. Well, I'm out. I can answer you right now, not take a test. Nope, not me. 40 plus 40 times 0 plus 1 equals what?
1.
What you want? I'm not
Okay, I'm hearing two things.
Equals 1.
It's either going to be 1 or it's going to be
41.
41. And only a real genius knows.
I got 42,
There's no, you can't.
All right, so the point is there is an order of operation. Tim's going nuts up here. The point is order of operation. You have to do things in the right order. Well, this doesn't have everything in it, but what I always remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So please.
What she did?
She has gas.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the same thing.
Didn't you come up with a different one, Kevin?
Oh, Evan did, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was
Appropriate?
appropriate.
It was not.
So why don't you say it?
I don't remember what it is.
Put it in my notes.
She has it in her notes. All right. So first we have to do things in parentheses. Without the space there, I was looking down. Parentheses. Then we were going to do things that have exponents. Then we are going to do things multiplication. Actually, this right here, if it's from me, tell them I'm busy. It is not multiplication and then division. Multiplication and division are actually share the same level, and it goes from left to right. So multiplication and in the same way as addition and subtraction also share, and it is from left to right and left to right. So let's find out what is 40 plus 40 times 0 times 1. So what is the first thing we must do?
40 times 0.
What's that?
40 times 0.
All right, let's write it down here.
He doesn't have
40 plus 40 times 0 plus 1. So first thing we have to do is multiplication, right? Okay, so we have one multiplication right here. 40 times 0 is what?
0.
So 40 plus 0 plus 1. And we do, and it wouldn't really matter if all we're left with is this. We can go right to left, left to right. We're going to get the same answer, so 41. And Tim, you said it was 1?
I said it. Well, I did it wrong.
You're close.
42 over here.
I just did it.
Just trying to remember, right? All right.
Look, know
Well, I was thinking if
wasn't
you
genius
put
when I did it.
like parentheses around 40 plus 40, then multiplied it by 0, then added 1, then it'd be 1.
Sure. Now, and the point is, if you went from left to right, you would get 1. Since 40 plus
That's
40
right.
is 80 times 0 is 0 plus 1. So from left to right, you would be with 1. But that isn't the proper order of operation. Proper order of operation would be written like this. So first you do what is in parentheses, which is that, and so you would get 41. All right. So parentheses. And as far as parentheses go, you would always do this type of bracketing first. And these type of brackets second. So the square runs are a higher order than the other ones. So now doing something like that, x equals 2 times 9 divided by 3 plus 4 plus 3 squared, close brackets. All right, so order of operation, what would be the first thing we'd want to do then?
Parentheses. What's inside the bracket?
Okay, so remember, it's the brackets. It's the square parentheses, the brackets. So we want to focus inside here first. Okay, so then what is the first thing we have to take care of?
9 divided by 3.
Actually, it's please excuse. So what comes after parentheses? Exponents. Okay, so we have to take care of an exponent. So what's an exponent here?
The
Square.
Square. Okay, so what am I supposed to square?
4 plus
The 3?
No,
The
4
4?
plus 3.
Ah, okay, so it's actually, it would be x equals 2x. That's going to stay the same. Now, we can kind of cheat a little bit. We can solve this 9 divided by 3, right? Because it's not going to hurt anything, so that's 3. Plus, actually, it's parentheses first anyway, so 7 squared, and this is out here. Okay, so please, we took kind of care of most of the best please we could right there. Excuse exponents, so x equals 2x. What's my exponent?
49.
Here's my exponent right here, 7 squared, right? So remember, it's 7, and then I hit the x square here, 49, so 3 plus 49. Okay, now I can finish my brackets. X equals, it should be n, not whatever, x. 2x, what do we got? 51, 2. $52. Now what? Oops, that's times, not x. Times. So
2 times
we're left with 2 times 52. So x equals. So x equals.
It's not x. It's multiplication.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, good.
That's my bad.
Just a little dot. Oh, just a little. Just a little dot.
Little dot.
Is that?
Devastating.
Yeah, no. I have another example here, but only if I hate you.
Let's do it.
No. I can write it out, and you can do it if you want.
Yeah, that's good.
N equals 60. Oh, I probably can't even write it out. 62 minus
The answer is
54
161.7.
squared
How dare you.
plus 6 squared minus
I wrote this
4 plus 3 times. Why am I wasting my time with this? 8 plus 10. Yeah, see, divided by 2. And never mind, it just keeps going on.
one. Oh, wait, no.
The answer is 30.25. All right. So order of operation absolutely counts. So you have to remember the order of operation, how we do things. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the wrong answer. And as I mentioned before, where we're going with this is we are going to be looking at some larger AC problems, and we're going to need to be able to do that appropriately. So I'll let you practice on this. How's that sound?
That's what I was actually looking forward to, Jeff. Like, is he gonna give us another handout?
Let's talk about computing area. Seems to me like the FAA loves to ask area questions, and oh, there's lots of them in there. So starting with something very simple, a square or a rectangle or any four-sided thing. The formula is always area equals length times the width, which is to say it's side 1 times side 2 or side A times B, however you want to do it. And that seems simple enough. You could say something like, if this is 2 feet and this is 2 feet, how many square feet is it? 4. All right, so area equals length times width, with area equals 2 times 2, so the area equals what?
4 squared. Feet squared.
4 feet squared, okay? But nobody's going to give you something like that.
figure out what.
I would say, oh, this side here is 3 feet, and this side here is 24 inches.
Huh?
And I would say, how many square inches are there?
How many meters are there?
How many? Yeah, how
Many square meters?
how many inches square? All right, so we can go area, and I'm going to show you where everybody screws up. Area equals length times width.
So they did 24 times.
Well, so I go area equals what, 3 times 24?
No.
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 3 times 12.
Well, we could make it simple, so we don't have to do it. So we can go, well, 3 times, how many feet is that? 2. So area equals 3 times 2, so it's 6 feet square. And I promise you, that would be one of the answers on the test.
That's wrong.
But I want it in
Inches.
inches square. Well, that's not hard because there's 12 inches to a foot, and so all I have to do is what, 6 times 12? Okay, so 6 times 12 is?
36.
That's all.
No, it's not right.
72. Is 72. Good to go? I promise you 72 is going to be
Inches squared.
inches, okay, inches squared. And I promise you that is going to be one of the answers. Let's try it another way. Area equals length times width. Area equals 36 inches times 24 inches. So area equals, anyone want to do that real quick? 36.
864 inches.
How much?
864 inches.
864 inches squared. Now wait a minute. I just got 72 a minute ago.
Well done.
So what is it?
It's 864 inches squared.
It's 864 squared. This is the correct answer. What happened here?
Multiply
We
by-
multiplied it by 12.
Yep.
Sure, there are 12 inches in a linear foot, but a square foot has 12 inches going this way and 12 inches going that way, and 12 times 12 is 144. So there are 144 square inches for every foot. So you don't multiply it times 12. It'd be 6 times 144 if you're going to do it that way. And 6 times 144 would be 864. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we better to convert the foot
So first
into inches.
First rule is, what is it you want? What is my answer supposed to be in? I'm going to convert everything into that to begin with. That will solve that problem. Secondly, remember that there's not 12 inches in a square foot. It's 144.
Good question.
So is it a trick question, or is it a question that makes you think?
Question that makes you question.
Screw.
Wait, did you write it or did the FAA write it?
I don't know.
Ghost.
I just wrote this on top of my head right here just now.
FAA
All right.
writes it, it's a trick question. Kevin writes it, makes you think.
All right. Triangle.
Uh-oh.
If I add up all of the angles on a triangle, the angles will always equal. Well, you know now too. All right. The sum, I'll put it, the sum of all the angles equals 180 degrees. And how do I find the area of a triangle? 1/2 base times the height is a good answer. Remember that it's really half of a square. So you could just find the area of a square and divide by 2. Or you can do 1/2 the base times the height. I have all these different triangles I was defining for some strange reason. I have no idea why I would do that. Let's see. What's that?
That's for like a right triangle.
It works out either which way. 1/2 base times height is your other one.
Well, on a regular triangle, it's down the middle, right?
So 1/2 the base times the height. So here's the height. Here's 1/2 the base if you want, but really it's going to work out. The FA always gives you right triangles. I don't think they give you anything like this. Hmm? What?
So if you were to compute that, would you do base times height divided by half?
I do. Especially if it's a right triangle. Right triangle means that this right here, that's what that means, that this is a 90-degree angle right there. So that's a right triangle. Huh?
Doesn't matter if it's a right triangle.
Yeah.
I just told it, he asked about that, and I said it's a right triangle.
No, I said like if it doesn't matter if it is or it isn't.
Oh,
Because even if it's like awkward and
Yeah.
on the side, it's still gonna work out.
it does, yes. Let me see. I don't think we. All right. Let's move on to circles. So, all right, circles. So I have from this point to this is called what?
Radius.
Okay. And this is the so that's the diameter. So the formula for a diameter or radius, diameter, the diameter is 2 radiuses, or 1/2 a diameter is a radius. Well, that's not easy to spit out. And what is it going around?
Circumference.
Sir who?
Circumference.
No, I was just kidding. Seriously, I do not have to spell it right, don't I? Circumference. CIR. Is the distance around. So, diameter is radius times 2. The circumference is circumference equals the diameter times pi. Now, what is pi?
Delicious food.
It is delicious food. That is the best answer so far. Pi is a constant, and it's a ratio of the circumference to its diameter, but it is equal to 3.14 is good enough for if you want 1,592 on, and it doesn't ever end. It doesn't repeat. It just goes on. We have a pi key on both the calculators. I just have to remember where it is. There it is. It's the third one down on this one, and fourth one down on the other one. It's almost the exact same spot. So we would just use something like that. So we'll do a little more of that. So circumference, and then we have, most importantly, is the area. The area, how much square footage that takes up right there, square inches. So the area equals pi times the radius squared. And those are the formulas I want to use. Now, first thing that I want to remind you of is the area is pi times the radius squared. So if I had something like this and I said, why, the diameter is 6 inches, what's the area? Well, how would I figure that out?
6 divided by 2.
So if the area equals pi times the radius squared, what's the radius?
3 inches.
Pi times 3 squared. Now we get into this order of operation. Should I go pi times 3 and then square it?
No.
So we got to do order of operation. So it's pi times, and then it's 3 squared. So we got to do 3 squared. So it's 3x squared is 9. So area equals pi times 9. Now once I get the 9 in my calculator, I'm just going to get times the little pi button, and it's going to give me all those numbers in there. I don't have to remember 3.14, and equals, and so what is the area? 28.2743 inches squared. So here's a typical FA type question. I'll make it a little bit more difficult. So an engine. An engine. Ooh, let's be more specific.
A Cessna 150.
A 6-cylinder
That's not 150.
has a bore of 5 1/8 inches. And was bored was bored 0.010 oversize. It has a stroke of 4 inches. What is the displacement? In other words, how much fluid is displaced by the piston going up and down? So it looks like kind of a daunting problem, but it's actually quite simple as long as you pay attention. So the first thing I need to do is figure out, I have a piston that's going up and down in a cylinder. What's the first thing I want to figure out?
Stroke radius.
Stroke's 4 inches.
Yeah.
The radius.
The radius. Radius. Well, I don't want to figure out the radius.
Well, because it's a cylinder.
4 divided by 2 squared.
All right. First thing I need to do, so I can't really draw you a 3D representation, but this piston's going up, and so it's even if you don't understand engines, I've got a tube with something going up and down inside this tube. So I've got to figure out if I had if my water bottle had a little piston in here, and the piston went from here to here, and it wanted to figure out how much water it was going to put out of the top. That's the displacement. That's all I'm asking, is how much this piston going up 4 inches is, and the difference between here and here, how much fluid is that displacing from here to here.
16 ounces.
Okay, we're done. So all we have to do is turn the engine over and look at the bottom, right? But I guess we're not going to figure out till tomorrow, are we? Unless you want to stay late.
Yeah.